What's up, Kpopcast listeners? This is a not safe for work episode of the Kpopcast. It's got a lot of explicit Nuna thirst in this episode. Keep that in mind if you've got kids listening in the background. I hope this can be some very fun escapism during this time of the COVID-19 quarantine. This episode was recorded just before the drop of the Black Swan music video, and a lot of this episode was edited and condensed for content and length. But with that all being said, let's dive right in.
Hey, it's the BTS episode of the Kpopcast, the long-awaited, much-anticipated episode about On and Map of the Soul 7. Welcome, armies near and far all across the world as we discuss the title track of the new album. I am your K-pop host, Stephanie, on the West Coast, and I am joined by our resident DJ, Pilo.
Hello, everybody. It's DJ Pilo.
We've also got our lovely PD Neem, Michaela, in the house.
Everybody, hello.
Oh, switching it up there. And welcoming a very, very special guest, we've got Virginia, a.k.a. Mandarin Mama. She is a writer, and she has a podcast called the Nuna Army Podcast. Why have I not been listening to this? I am a Nuna Army. Oh my gosh, where have you been all my life?
Well, it's new. Hello, everyone. I only have like 11 episodes, so I've only started. So
That's a lot.
Is it? Okay. I just started, I think, beginning of this year.
Most people don't get past one.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Virginia here is highly recommended by the Redditors over at r/Bongtan, who kept saying, oh, you should bring this person on. I'm like, okay. And then I started reading your coverage, and I was like, oh, yeah, we should bring this person on.
Oh, thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've got a highly sought after, booked and busy podcast guest, Virginia, and we are so blessed to have her in the studio today.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, I was super excited, so thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, we're about to dive in to a hearty discussion about BTS On.
Letting you know if this song is Daebak or not.
But before we dive into that, first our hit replays.
Hit replays are songs we recommend y'all listen to on replay for the week. This week is special. We'll be talking about songs off the Map of the Soul 7 album because naturally it's what we're all listening to anyway. Woo!
Yeah, so Black Swan, guys, like that song.
Yes.
Both the music video version and the album version are two different songs. One has the orchestra, the acoustic sounds, and another has like a trap beat. And naturally, as your go-to Army K-pop DJ, I had to take the orchestral version and then layer on the trap percussion. So that is my hit replay.
All right.
Nice.
For this week. It captures the feeling of the two deaths referred to in the concept. So I emotionally relate to it. And of all the songs on this album, sorry, spoilers, this is the one that gives me goosebumps.
That's awesome. Mine are Ugh and Louder Than Bombs.
Ugh.
Because I swear, like, prior to this, Outro Tears my favorite, but Ugh might unseat her. And it's so much swag and, like, BDE, like, out the yin yang. And it's
BDE? What's that?
like, just big dick energy, just.
I actually, we like to refer to that as big park energy, just like J Park.
Mm-hmm. Big park energy. No, we don't. No one does that here.
I'm not I recognize that J Park's like instrumental, but yeah. He can be
how about Big
sometimes
Park Energy
problematic.
as in Big Jimin Park Energy?
Yes, because he's part of BD. Because he's part of the BD, BDL and the DSL. So that's a big part. Fine.
Well then,
I
like it.
There's lots.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
So yeah, I really like the swag in it, and it's just And then Louder Than Bombs, which prior to knowing that the lyrics were about wanting to the lyrics are deep, but the song just sounds like sex, and I'm just I'm here for it. So yeah,
is that what it's about?
Listen to that again.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I'm looking at
the
it.
first on my reaction video, it's just me just exploding on the screen.
Whoa, okay.
Well then,
And it was just
we have a few things to listen to after this.
It's fantastic. I highly recommend.
Fantastic baby.
All right then.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. How
I mean, the
about
lyrics aren't sexy. The lyrics aren't sexy, but
yeah, I didn't think so.
no, but the sound. If you don't understand Korean, you're like, this is a fucking shit.
All right.
So
Love it.
Yeah. How about you, Stephanie? What's making you hit replay?
I too, Pilo, have had Black Swan on repeat since it came out. I just think it's so impressive and so perfect for this time in their career. But speaking of time, my second favorite track on the album is My Time by Baby Jungkook, because from the jump, his voice is just doing all kinds of things and making you want to just wind and roll and all of that. He's so talented. I love his English and his swagger in this song. It's like an R&B knock out of the park.
Oh my god. Yeah, Jungkook RM might be the English translator of the group, but for some reason Jungkook's English enunciation is so perfect. I live for his acapella solos.
I live.
He's improved so much.
yes.
Yeah, he was not always that good.
No. Well, J-Hope's English, I feel, is really good when he speaks it too.
Yeah.
So
True.
In a very different way, though. J-Hope, I love how raspy, attitude, and he get his mood that he gets in his rap. But enough of that, Michaela. What's your hit replay?
My hit replay for this album is the intro, Persona, because even though it was on even though it technically was part of the Map of the Soul Persona, it is on this album, and it's my hit replay for reasons just because it has RM. I don't think I need any other reasons.
I mean, it's a good reason. I feel that's an excellent reason.
Who the hell am I? Tell me all your names, baby. Do you want to die or do you want to go? Do you want to fly? What's it show? What's it drink? Do you think you lie?
Okay. Why not?
That's it for this week's hit replays, BTS edition. Let's move on to our Daebak or Not for BTS's On. We back on Opposite of no. 7 year.
Jumping right in with a theory.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of theory, man, you guys, like, theory crafting became a thing in K-pop because of BTS. And I just wanted to stop and pause and take a big step back and like look at all of this. And how much should we continue to feed this machine? I think I had like I met my idol in a way that I realized, oh, it maybe wasn't as great as I initially thought when I saw that Blood, Sweat, Tears was like a direct ripoff of Black Swan, the Natalie Portman film. And it's like, oh, actually, maybe there's not as much symbolism and meaning and metaphors there as originally thought, because you can actually see one-to-one pairing and mapping of exactly each symbol that they pulled from that film. As I was watching the behind-the-scenes music video for On, it was V who was saying like, oh, you know, you armies, I can't wait to see what theories you guys come up with. And it's like, come on, how much of this is like a marketing ploy to get people to like come up with theories? And
it's 100% a marketing ploy.
Yeah.
I mean, from a YouTube perspective, it's brilliant because there's a whole cottage industry built around just like talking about theories of BTS, reacting to other people's theories of BTS, and interpretive dancing to okay, maybe that's not there yet. But
interpretive reaction.
No, like so much content, so much engaging people's intellect and their emotions. It's a brilliant play.
Yeah, it reminds me back in like 10th grade high school English. I just remember being like, why the hell do we have to have all this symbolism? Can't we just have a good story where people just say what they mean?
No.
Cosine.
D-.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it does remind...
So what'd you get on the SAT, Peter?
No comment. But it does remind me of Death of the Author by Roland Barthes, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. And Roland argues that only what people read and interpret becomes reality. So it is that subjective perception that is reality rather than the objective art in itself. And I think we're at that stage with BTS where you look at this and whatever the hell you come up with, that's the reality. Doesn't matter if that's what the directors or writers were coming up with. Like, that's besides the point. It's up to us, theory crafters, to decide what the reality is of this song.
Well, no, because I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, BTS has this whole theory explosion started in 2015, really. So in order for them to keep this going, they really having it as open as possible and for people to interpret multiple different things and be able to apply, you know, their version to each story really helps them actually keep this going for as long as they've been able to do it.
So it's no secret, and we've heard from many others in the ARMY and K-pop community that this is a reflection of Carl Jung's map of the soul.
Specifically,
so, Michaela, like, do you want to give us a quick rundown of like Cliff Notes version? Like, lots of other podcasts and other places we can go to learn like the deep dive, like textbook, but we just want the TLDR version. Like, what should we know about this concept?
Yeah. Disclaimer: again, I am not a philosophy expert.
Psychology,
philosophy, psychology. Most of my breakdown specifically comes from a podcast called Speaking of Jung. They did a multiple part series specifically about analyzing this album from the perspective of like Jungian concepts. So if you really want like a really, really, really in-depth explanation of these concepts, definitely go check that out. But generally, when we're talking about what Jung has to say about the self, his theory of self, I like the analogy that he comes up with is you are like a house. So your shadow is the basement, the persona is the main floor, and then your ego or your ego is the attic or like the roof. So the basement is something, it's like the deep dark place where you hide all the stuff that you don't want people to see, a la like Parasite.
Parasite.
It's kind of
Fantastic.
like your unconscious, all those super visceral feelings that are still a part of you, but aren't necessarily something that you want to show people. And then your persona being, like the main floor, like it's your dining room, your kitchen, the place that you show other people. It's part of you, but it's not necessarily who you are, because it's the face that you show other people, so that can change depending on who you're showing it to. And then your ego is your I. So that's why it's referred to as kind of the attic, or like the roof, because it's something that you show people, but it's also kind of the truest you. And in general, we have this concept of ego being negative because it's like, oh, somebody has a big ego. But ego is actually something that's very neutral. Like specifically, it comes from Latin. It's like the most I that there is. So it's your consciousness.
Mm-hmm. The inner self.
The inner self. Yeah. And then they all relate to each other in like super complicated ways. Again, there's a lot of other places where you can find a much, much deeper dive into this, but that's the general concept of what we're talking about when we're talking about a shadow, a persona, and an ego.
So I totally agree with Pilo. Like, I loved English. I was like totally those English nerds, and I'm a writer, so I read a lot of fiction, but I hate things that make me like examine symbolism and like I despise it. I used to love it. I used to love it when I was like in my college years, like very kind of pretentious, like, oh, this is, but now I'm just like, you know what? That's cool. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I think it's interesting, and I'll consume that content, but promptly forget it. Because to me, what's important about the map of the soul is how to integrate yourself as a person. Because we all have identity issues. Like I'm an Asian American woman who's a mom and a wife, and like, but I also want to be my own person. So like, that's how I try to understand BTS's like map of the soul in terms of like identity, how to integrate all these parts about you. Like I totally had like I wanted to burn my life down like 2 years ago.
Oh no!
I totally had like a stereotypical midlife crisis. But like so what I find interesting about the map of the soul is about how they struggled with their identities, about being like underground hip hop, and then being told they're not idols, or they are idols, or how are they artists, and then how they integrate it into their like as actual people. So I find it more interesting, less in terms of theory. Like I'm sure the theory applies, but I find it interesting in terms of how it applies to your real life, because I'm old now, like, so I'm 41, and you know what, theories are cool, but that doesn't help me.
41's the new 31.
Oh, sure, we'll go with that. But like if it doesn't affect my life in a good way, then I don't like, theories are cool, but I just want to see how I can apply it as a person.
Yeah.
So that's what I get out of it more.
It's a pragmatic army.
Yes, I am ruthlessly pragmatic.
All for that.
She ain't got time. Yeah. She ain't got time.
Nobody's got time, especially when we've got kids and all their adulting responsibilities.
I just visually, I feel like it's very exciting to me to see like a kind of post-apocalyptic dystopian world where it's led by Asian men, where it's where there's actual people of color, where like I was like,
on it.
Oh, we exist. Oh, thanks. So like,
wow, thanks.
To repopulate
so I really,
the earth.
And I'll help.
I mean,
okay, there it is.
I volunteer as tribute.
I have proven fertility. I have 4 children, so
wow. She's first in line.
That's right.
Okay,
get on the arc.
Let's move along, guys. Before we get too distracted here, the dancing, the choreography. I guess we were delighted with multiple videos of On. But I gotta say, when it comes to the dancing itself, I was admittedly a little disappointed of the, what do you call it, the primary, or what do you call it, the
kinetic,
the
kinetic,
the one that they filmed in the LA River.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The dance practice video, the one that wasn't like as professionally shot. That one looked better because you could actually see and appreciate all the very intense formation changes from all the backup dancers. And also, like, I I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who like cares about this, but I gotta say, like, whoever did the outfitting for that performance video, like, they need to be fired. Like, I mean, honestly, like, you're working for Big Hit. You're working for Bangtan, right? Army demand the best. And for BTS to be visually blend in with all the backup dancers, like, it's hard to and with the backdrop, it's like, I couldn't see or appreciate the idols, the stars themselves. Interestingly, when you watch the dance practice video, it's them in their like sloppy casual outfits, that they're more colorful and more contrasted with all the backup dancers, and it made me even with somewhat professional dance training, like, to better appreciate, oh, this is what makes this dance, this performance better. But seeing it from that vantage, I can see how even untrained eyes would really appreciate the technical finesse, both by the idols and the backup dancers. Lastly, the backup dancers, and I'm forgetting the name of the dance crew, I should totally remember them.
The Lab.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was awesome about them is that they were shouting, they were chanting while they were dancing. It was like the
super hype.
Yeah, and that gave me goosebumps. Just like I got goosebumps in Black Swan. Like, that was dope.
Did you see the Jimmy Fallon version?
Yeah.
Because that
they were
version,
super hype in that too.
You could, they were super hype, but then also you could see all the scene changes because it's so you can see all the like BTS members run to the back prepping and all that stuff. So that's actually, I found, like, a more interesting behind the scenes, even though it wasn't technically behind the scenes.
And can we just say that was such a power move to block out Grand Central Station? Are you kidding me?
No, they can't. I mean, this is BTS we're talking about.
I don't know why I forgot, but
yeah.
So
I've been reminded. I appreciated one aspect of the fashion that I think to go back to the female thirst for a second, some of the members were sporting those tank tops where the sleeves are actually just gaping holes that show the entire side of the body.
Side boob,
nipple, like abs, shoulders, biceps. Yeah. How many muscles can you name? Like, they were all on display, and I appreciate that fashion choice.
Yes, and then the fact that, I mean, I guess the only complaint is that these $5,000 pants split on Jimin.
Oh, right.
But is that
he ripped his pants during filming?
Is that really a complaint? I mean, I feel like that's a feature, not a bug.
Feature, not a bug. Hey, tech jokes.
Yeah. This comeback was accompanied by another documentary, a commentary music film with the Echo Bar recording studio. It showed a lot of behind the scenes of what went into the production of the music of the song itself. As one of the interviewees was saying, and I agree with him, I love that they make very deliberate effort to incorporate acoustic sampling from the brass, the marching bands, and they blend that with your very typical pop production style, which is almost all digital nowadays. So that was really refreshing to see and hear, and you hear that blend most pronounced in the bridge of this song during the dance break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the documentary, commentary film. I mean, both my parents went to UCLA. I grew up on the West Side. Hey, that's right, Bruin Pride. And so the UCLA marching band was featured on the track, and they were the main speakers in this video. BTS was shown very few times, I think, and it was like really special for me to see, so many African Americans,
the gospel
Black
choir
featured, celebrated. They were asked about their opinions and their expertise on not just BTS but music in general. And so I really thought to say it again, this was an example of cultural appreciation, not appropriation, and really showing respect to the folks that invented these styles. And
and that's definitely something that has led to, I think, why BTS has gotten so popular in the States, is even initially, I mean, there are amazingly talented session musicians in Korea, amazingly talented choirs, but when they approached this project and like, we want this kind of sound, they knew that there's the only way you're going to get a true representation of that culture is if you go to the people that it actually comes from.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot with their projects. Like, I mean, yeah, you can probably get a similar sound if you were to use a Korean musician, but there is definitely something to showing that they're not just treating this as a concept. They are respecting the culture and respecting, you know, where it comes from and the history and the people that it comes from.
Yeah, but, you know, I would counter and say that it's kind of obvious when someone is copying, like when they're not pulling from original source material. So, I mean, that was smart that they did that. Something that was...
But they didn't have to. They didn't have to.
Right, yeah. Another nice thing or very unique quirk to this is that we often forget it as Western Americans, but marching band music is a distinctly American thing. So to hear that in a K-pop music video comeback song of all things, that was sort of, whoa. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, that is something that's different for the genre and something that's different Americana.
I don't think we've seen much American marching band theme concepts except for After School Bang.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's something that one of our listeners...
JC Chazé had a song with marching band, the Some Girls Dance with Women.
Yeah.
It's definitely been more of a trend recently. Like, if you think about... I want to bring up another group, but also ATEEZ with their last release. What was it? They had it was
marching
kind of like,
band in the audio though.
It was in the music video, but it wasn't necessarily something that was represented in the audio.
Yeah, they had choreography
plenty of visual
of that.
Yeah, so you definitely see marching band kind of being a trendier concept now in Korea. So it's nice that we have a good representation of people actually not just, you know, taking it for the visual, but also taking it for
on the costume.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also really cool because they didn't actually have to. They could have used the gospel vocals. They could have used the marching band and never mentioned it.
Yeah.
And instead we get an 18-and-a-half video featuring, you know, people of color and just being very, I feel, respectful. And I think
like hearing from them, having their name on screen, promoting them.
And even the recording studio that they
Echo
used
Bar.
for Dark and Wild, right? Because they had started working
Dark and
with
Wild. Like, that's, I think that, for me, that's why Dark and Wild personally is one of my favorite BTS albums.
Me too!
It goes back to the idea. It's like BTS, they started off with this hip-hop concept and like, oh, we're going to do hip-hop and be hip-hop. But they're Korean boys from Korea.
Right.
Never set foot in America before. So it took them, you know, going to America for American Hustle Life, actually learning culture.
Oh my gosh.
No,
so funny.
But it's so... But, you know, American Hustle Life, I feel like, changed the way they understood hip-hop. And changed their understanding of cultural appropriation or whatever, right? Because
it was the right choice.
You know,
so many K-pop groups need to go on that show.
Yes,
oh my God.
like please stop it with the braids.
GD,
you know,
Jessie.
Anyway.
So they.
Yes.
Oh, leave Jessie alone. Jessie's American.
I love Jessie,
but like.
Yeah, but that aspect of respecting, you know, the people that originate the music and putting them in the spotlight is a big part of this project in general, because we had, you know, with Connect BTS, you know, spotlighting not only just musical artists but also visual artists as well. So we definitely see BTS, you know, flexing their budget and not just making it about them, but also making it about all these other artistic influences that are inspiring them through the process.
Yeah. And it just shows how like secure they are as people, because that they see art as, and I see this a lot in the influencer world. Like, we always worry that like, oh, so and so has more numbers, and you don't want to, like, if you collaborate, it's purely for like numbers. But really, there's not, it's not just one pie, right? Like, they have a very expansive view of art, an expansive view of how they interact with other artists and idols, and I think that's a good way to go about life.
Oh my God. And in this album especially, like, look at the territory that they covered with this album. It goes to like all these distant corners of like different genres of pop, quote unquote pop music. In different ways they show that artistry on screen. The different dance styles that we see. Absolutely, very inclusive. Something that I've always wondered, if another label had similar or comparable resources, money, and funds, could they do something like BTS? Like, is this just something that Big Hit has just had the luxury of, you know, riding off of the fame and momentum that they've already had, and they already have a full-blown team just to execute well? Or is this something that, no, this is distinctly BTS that they were able to devise and come up with?
I think the big three have money, right? Like, they're not poor. So if they wanted to, they could. I think it's an attitude, right?
Yeah, and I think some of them think that they do that. Especially like, you know, JYP, YG. I feel like they've kind of, you know, attempted that kind of thing, but really Big Hit is the only one that's actually done it in a way that feels sincere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll finish this section by saying, does anyone think that with this album, and especially with the choices to showcase more, I guess, traditional Western forms of art and performance, and those people and those groups, that they're trying to gun for a Grammy Award this year? Like checking off all the boxes of like, well, you can't fault us for XYZ. We did a dance video. We did a, you know, like contemporary dance video. I mean, we worked with the marching band in the US. We did everything to earn a Grammy.
I mean, they blatantly say, they do say, like, their goals is to get on to perform at the Grammys as a solo act, and then to get nominated and to win. Like, they've, like...
Yeah, they really got shafted with the performance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but they weren't nominated, so I get it. Like, and I say this as, like, hardcore ARMY.
Right.
But, like, you know, people get pressed that BTS was, like, shafted, but, like, it's not just BTS. It's especially people of color artists.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
so
that's
like,
true.
so like, don't only get like invested in the Grammys because your oppas are like getting shafted.
I want them to. My vote would be throw away the whole thing.
Right?
Just ignore the Grammys. Do your thing. Make them come to you.
Right.
Don't try and.
That's exactly what it is. Like, and I think we saw that. Like, in all honesty, like in total frankness, just as the Oscars needed Parasite more than Parasite needed the Oscars. Like, we are seeing the same thing with like any music award show needing BTS more than BTS needs these award shows. Like, BTS is already like #1 global stage, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
So it's a nice to have, in my view, for, you know, our boys the Bangtan to check that off their list. But Western award shows and critics need to like rise up to like, yo, this is 2020. Like, this is the future of music. This is the future of pop. Are you getting on board, or are you going to be left behind like a dinosaur? Because like that's the state of affairs right now. And I think we're now beginning to see a lot of those critics to like wake up and realize that. And we see that from the artists themselves. Like, everyone's trying to collab with our boys at BTS.
Yeah, there's a long line,
including Sia.
Yeah, so before we end this section, let's talk about the Sia feature.
Yeah.
Just what a criminally underusage of Sia. Like, I mean, I get it. She's one person. There's 7 people. But like the whole time, I was waiting for just like, oh, when's she singing? When's she?
Yeah.
I mean, what a waste.
Yeah, I told you guys before.
Yep.
I was listening to the album on YouTube Music, and YouTube Music has this thing where sometimes once you're done with your playlist, it'll start playing YouTube videos. So I was listening to On, and then the Sia version came on, and honestly, it was so, the mixing was so bad.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a YouTube cover of somebody doing the song.
Ouch.
I didn't think it was like a real thing, so I looked at my phone and was like, oh, this is the Sia feature.
Yeah.
It was really surprising just how sparse her part was, and also just how it didn't sonically really fit in with the rest of the mix, considering how much care they put into adding everything else.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And if I were a Sia fan, I'd be pissed.
Right.
I'd be like, stop you. Like, why? Like, you know how, like, Arby got mad about, like, only Jungkook and RM being Wasted on Me, which is a fantastic song about one night stands. But if I were a Sia fan, I'd be like, stop using her. Like, you had her for like 2 seconds and you did it poorly. So it was just
it makes me wonder, like, maybe there was more and something got changed or something like that, because at least, like, following along with the themes, like, we have the gospel choir, we have these marching band elements, like having her voice maybe as like doing ad-libs at the beginning or maybe singing along, because I think the best example that we have of BTS collaborating with a female vocalist is the Halsey collab. Not necessarily saying that all of that song is great, but how she is featured with the voices, like, because of her voice, she blends with them so well. Yeah, I feel like we could have had that with the Sia collab, and it's really kind of putting them a step down,
right?
From what they've
like,
done before.
With Halsey, it was more of like an offbeat compliment, like, you know, it's like someone says one verse and another person says another verse. In this case, it was just all layering on top of each other. Like, everyone, like, see, her voice is getting lost. And as you mentioned, Michaela, like, the mastering just sucked. Like, who let this pass? Like, on either end, on both Big Hits and even Sia's production team. Like, how could they let that happen?
It makes me wonder, because we talk about how they've had this big budget to do this crazy production, but this isn't the only case of, like, the actual product not being exactly what people thought. A lot of people were criticizing the physical album specifically.
Oh, it was bad.
That the quality of the album has actually gone down.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that? I actually don't have it.
Oh, okay. So I did an unboxing, and so and I got my preferred version because I like version 2 with the swan stuff. And it's just like, it's on the photo book is on, like, it's on paper that is slightly better than newsprint, but slightly
what?
And the way it's
bullshit.
Folded together.
It's I mean, okay, look, I get it. Folding I accept because, you know,
you can pin it up
travel.
Or whatever.
But like, come on, the paper is like it's slightly better than newsprint, slightly thicker than magazine, but it was crap, and you can't even see it. It's so matte. You can't even see what you're looking at. So I paid $40 for this album for, like, hot pictures of hot dudes, and I can't see them. I can't see them because my eyes are old.
Travesty.
But then also because they had bad production, and I was pissed. I would have been more pissed if I were not on camera.
And I mean, for somebody who's not really familiar with K-pop, like, when it comes to physical albums, the reason, like, K-pop, the quality has always been very good, especially with BTS albums. So for the fact that this is an example of how things are changing as they grow, it makes me worried for the progression of how, you know, things are going to go in the future.
And the free gift was bullshit too. Like,
damn.
Which I didn't get because I believe in Amazon Prime. But if you had ordered from, like, WePly or however you say it, like, because the way they changed the rules about bundling, the free gift couldn't be a certain type of thing, or I forget. But, like, it was basically this, like, emailed picture to you. And it wasn't even, like, personal. It was just, so you're like, well, why did we pay all this extra for the free gift if you're just emailing me a picture? Or, like, or, like, for Bon Voyage, if you bought, like, some special thing, we thought we were getting a special photo card, but it was crap. It was just all crap, and we were all pissed.
Yeah. Well, if I can provide one analogy, I was also disappointed in the autotune of On. Like, these guys are such capable singers, and then you put them in this, like, poorly produced package. But so long as I know, underneath all that production, I can still hear the melodic vocals of Jungkook without auto-tune.
Was Jungkook edited?
Yeah, he was.
Say it ain't so.
He was edited in the bridge.
They were all auto-tuned, right?
I mean, absurdly so.
In the bridge?
Like, there's a dry wetness thing that you use on like audio plugins, and it was like almost up to 100%. Like it was really heavily saturated auto-tune. And when by the way, like pro tip, you're trying to like convince your friends to get into BTS or even K-pop, introduce them to the carpool karaoke version.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, that is like the best introduction.
Oh, Jungkook killed it.
Oh my God.
And that gave me hope. Like
that reeled in like at least 5 of my friends.
Yeah. See?
After like 2 years of studying.
Yeah, just show them that. Just show them that video. They're hooked. But that's another example of where you can hear them perform it live, sing it without all that production filter, and you realize, oh, there's real good stuff underneath. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that makes me happy about this item. So with that being said, it is about that time.
Time to give our final scores. We covered the concept, visuals, choreo, audio, nip slips, so much more. But at the end of the day, is BTS's On Daebak or not?
Wow, I think we all said it in time.
Yeah, no editing needed.
Wow, good job, guys.
Okay, Peter.
Pilo first.
You know, I kind of hate right now how everyone is just kind of like, you know, fangasming over BTS because they're BTS. And I so wanted to say that this song was not because of all the reasons why we dislike it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, you know what? They can sing. This is a good song. And if any other band were to do something half as good, I would say it's Daebak. So this song is hella Daebak.
Okay, Stephanie, what about you?
Not a full-throated Daebak vote.
Yeah.
I think I'm in a similar boat to Pilo, actually. It's far from being my favorite BTS track and BTS album. Like, I was expecting a step up, or for them to just keep knocking it out of the park. I don't think they did. However, like, out of all of K-pop, all of everything, it's still Daebak.
Well, it is BTS after all.
Right.
It's fun. Right. It's funny because this is my favorite title track of theirs.
Really?
Yeah, because I actually like the majority of their B-sides a lot more. So I like I said before, like Outro Tears,
it's special,
queen over everything, right? So yeah, this is my favorite title track, and I feel like it's a lot of. I like the lyrics a lot. I think it's very inspiring. It's very hype. I really like the marching band aspects. Yeah. I love the choreo. We didn't mention it, but like I like the studs on their outfits during the dance break in the because it's like similar. It's like armor. I mean, I just feel like it's visually aesthetically pleasing. It's so catchy with the hey na na na, and the nip slips just I think pushes it over.
Something for everyone,
right? Like fake love had abs, but nipples are better.
True.
so yeah, definitely Daebak.
Woo! Awesome, Michaela.
Okay, I'm gonna stand in my truth. This is a not for me.
Dang!
I'm gonna stand in my truth.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I've been listening to BTS from the beginning. Musically, they have changed a lot.
Yeah.
They've evolved a lot.
Yeah.
But this song is definitely a song where for performance. Like it's for arena shows. It's for the scale that they are at now.
Yeah.
But sonically for me, it's not something that I'm going to be hitting replay on a lot. Like if I'm watching a video, I'll watch the video again. But the song itself for me is not Daebak.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so close to being that to Michaela, and then I just dived into it for all these reasons. I'm like, you know what? I can't, because if I just compare it to anyone else or in any other dimension, that actually is in fact Daebak. But it's hard because like my bar for BTS is so high right now.
Yeah, exactly.
and that it just seems unfair to penalize them for
that makes sense. But I mean, why can't they just take a step from like other K-pop group stylings and just go shirtless, and then I feel like we would all just be happier. Come on.
I think train under B-Rain.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to wait till they all come back from the military, because everybody gets sexier after the military.
That's true. They all get swole.
That's right.
Like free the nam titties, free them.
Join what's this? BM Big Matthews Big Titty Committee.
Yes. I mean, I love Big Matthew because he's just so big and so dumb and so blonde.
So dumb.
I'm sure he's not dumb, but he plays up that like and he's just divine.
Yeah, my wife just tells me like, Peter, all I ask is just for Jungkook abs. Like, why is that so hard? Like,
yeah, simple.
Yeah, that's what I deal with. That's what those are the expectations I have to live up to. So thanks a lot, Jungkook.
Wow.
You know what? If you benefit from spillover benefits like my husband does, you should just be happy about it.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we're quite there yet. But
boom.
Okay. Was there anything else that we wanted to say about BTS? I mean, this was a signature year for them. I mean, this is the last chance that we'll see them again before they go off to army.
It's true.
To the military.
The real army, not the
real
fans.
army, military service. Like 7 years. Like, is there anything that we want to say about their story arc, their growth over these 7 years?
I'm just grateful. Like, I'm grateful that I live in a time where my children can see Asian men being like celebrated and hot. Not that, I mean, I think Asian men were attractive prior to BTS, or attractive during the time of BTS, and will continue to be attractive after BTS. But,
Maybe.
But no, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people. There has to be some people who are attractive. I'm just really grateful. Like, I wish I had them when I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know,
as a role model. Yeah.
So, and then just the fact that we can see their journey from just very like scared, ambitious, nervous kids, and then see them go through like angst and like struggling with their identity, and then now they're at a point where they're resolved, and that they're a lot of people felt very sad about this album because it felt like a goodbye, but I see it more like as a closing of an arc, right? Like they've evolved, they've finished this journey, right? And then we don't know what the new journeys are, but this current adventure, of struggling with your identity, is mostly resolved, right? Because obviously that's a continuing thing, right? And as someone who has struggled with my identity for a lot, especially when I became a mom, and it just felt like, then I was just like, what the hell was I? I was just, I guess, a mom. And then they actually inspired me to pursue the things that I had always wanted. So I feel like I'm just very grateful that we got to witness their growth, and that it's an example both to myself and then to my kids. And I'm just mostly grateful that I live in the time of BTS. So it sounds like super mushy, but it's true.
And hopefully there will be many BTSs in the future. We talk a lot about BTS paving the way, but so far it's just been them. So hopefully we can actually make good on that and actually see other Asian American faces, in the media as big as them, or maybe even bigger in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, make Asian men sexy again. Yeah.
Masa.
Yeah, Carson needs to have an idol career.
It is.
Carson, it's up to you.
Yeah, he's going to be short. He's short, 3/4
That's
Chinese.
okay.
Hey, Taeyong, how old is Taeyong? Like, he's like 5'2".
He's 5'3", 5'2". Yeah.
Okay, well, that wraps it up for this episode of the Kpopcast. You can always chat with us on Twitter at the Kpopcast.
Or shoot us an email with constructive feedback, episode ideas, whatever you want. Shirtless photos. I'm on a roll. Not of yourself, of K-pop idols. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I thought you were soliciting listeners.
Shoot us whatever you want at kpopcastshow@gmail.com.
You can also get in touch with us on Slack. It's an instant messaging platform. So if you scroll down to the episode description, we'll have a hyperlink or URL there. So you can just click on that. You can join and chat with us, chat with other listeners. You can share photos of abs of your favorite K-pop idols, and that is perfectly acceptable in our Slack space.
Say lightly moderated.
Yeah, or Soyeon and Choa, sexy girl, K-pop girl images are cool too. I won't complain if that happens.
Everyone, let our listeners know where they can find you online. How about starting with Virginia? Where can we find you?
Oh, okay. So my site's called mandarinmama.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @themandarinmama. And I'm also on YouTube. My channel is Mandarin Mama. And Instagram is also The Mandarin Mama. So, yeah.
Go check it out, guys.
DJ Peter Lowe.
I'm at Michaela J. K-pop.
And I'm at SParker2 on Twitter. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share online.
Yeah.
Co-host one, who I don't know.
Yeah, that was my bad, guy.
No problem.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. So Stephanie, what happened with all the YouTube views?
The YouTube? Yeah. Can you speak on that for us?
Let me look up my approved company canned response comms. No, yeah. I mean, look. This happens. I'm putting on like my Obama voice. This vanishing views, view adjustments, all of that are a result of standard precautions that YouTube is required to take against the insanely large spam abuse problem that attacks all kinds of viral uploads. All kinds of big uploads, big videos are impacted by spam bot behavior, and so we have teams staffed on it 24/7 trying to adjust the view count to its proper number. But yeah, I've seen it from the inside, and I'll just say that the spam problem is real. It's massive. We have nothing against ARMY or BTS. Like, you can count on that.
I can get behind that. I'll believe that. Yeah. PR pro in the room. I'll give that my stamp.
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, Virginia, 4 kids. Like, how do you do it?
Well, you have sex and then get pregnant.
Whoa, okay.
You mean by raising them?
How did it happen?
It's like, well, the birds and the bees.
So, I mean, we must take a moment to appreciate the first impression video. The first impression of the video. I'm talking about the thumbnail image, which features none other than my one and only bias, V, staring sultrily into the viewer's eyes, with dark curly hair. He is communicating a lot.
Yeah, I only have inappropriate things to say about that thumbnail, so
please carry on.
I mean, that's the look if you're on top, right? So, I'm just saying, just
where we all want to be.
Just throwing it out there.
Oh gosh!
Wow.
You're welcome.
A little outdoor roughing it up action.
Okay. Consensually. Always consensual. Always
totally.
Always enthusiastically consensual.
I'm learning so much about like female thirst in this discussion.
I mean, it's the Nuna. We're Nuna.
Right. It's the Nuna Army party.
So.
Okay, we haven't even talked about the video.
I know, right? Moving on from the thumbnail.
I'm sorry. I digress.
The first scene we see is Jin.
Oh, so pretty.
Thank you.
So pretty.
And then what happened?
Doing what? Looking like what?
Oh, sorry.